Thanks for tuning in to the market wrap. And it turned out to be a day which had a bit, as we said in the morning in the trade setup, a bit of a backstop to any kind of short positions. I'm Niraj Shah, with me is Nickey Mirchandani, and quickly take you through what happened and what didn't. So first, just the rates on the index, and this is what essentially happened. A bit of a nothing day, really. You didn't have too many movers except for autos, which did well, and that led the index to do okay for themselves. So as you can see on your screen, Maruti Suzuki, Tata Motors, Bajaj Auto, that's essentially the set of stocks which did well. Some PSUs did okay. Tata Steel did okay because of individual news. So those were the set of names that kind of held out in the session today. What didn't do well, I think pharma now for the last few days has taken a bit of a backseat, and while divis didn't lose out too much, it was amongst the losers. There was weakness in IT too, with the likes of HCL Technologies in the red. It's replaced in the model portfolio by Motilal today, and still it ends in the red, and that tells you a story or two about how weak IT and pharma stories have become. So it looks a bit patchy right now. Let's wait and watch if that changes. But Nickey, the specifics on the two large cap names or three large cap names that stood out. I mean, IT is a known devil. What about the others?
Sure. Actually, I'm going to be picking up first Tata Steel, because early in the morning there was news that Swedish steel maker SSAB would be exploring a combination with Tata Steel European business. This could act as a backup plan to deal with ThyssenKrupp amid industry consolidation. And at this point of time, there are preliminary talks which are being held with Tata Steel as it seeks a merger option. On back of that, you saw Tata Steel doing extremely well in trade today. Also, JSW Steel has come out with results, solid set of numbers looking, reported by the company. The capacity utilization is almost at 86% at this point of time. So you can expect good show coming in even from JSW Steel on a Monday. Apart from that, what we also have in large caps is Bajaj Auto, which did as Niraj mentioned, the entire auto pack did rather well, exceedingly well. Bajaj Auto came with the numbers today, but brokerages suggested that this is the sixth consecutive session or the quarter of EBITDA beat coming in as compared to the consensus forecast for Bajaj Auto. And at this point of time, although domestic outlook commentary was a tad cautious, but they're sensing some amount of improvement coming in from the domestic two-wheeler segment. Apart from that, strong export outlook, which is expected to improve earnings going forward. But then I'm going to quickly come back to you, Niraj, and ask you about how the mid-cap space has shaped up overall.
I think we should straight first go and try and get the MOV chart on the screen, because as we mentioned, the last 3 days, irrespective of what's happened in the markets, the market breadth has remained positive. And the reason I wanted this chart to come in is what you can see the numbers on the screen, the up, down, and unchanged, viewers. The up versus the down, which is the gainers versus the losers on the NSE 500 or the Nifty 500. 300 to 200, which is 3:2 in favor of the advances again. So the market breadth for the fourth day on a trot has stayed positive. And you can see the usual culprits. For example, JK Tyre, yet again, a day of gains after the splendid move yesterday. Aditya Birla Fashion, again, news-based, up about 7%. There was some strength in companies like Bharat Forge, Apollo Tires. Aegis Logistics went up another 6% today. So those are the kind of names. Polycab ahead of the numbers tomorrow, up about 6%. What didn't do well? Some bit of a pullback for SBI cards yet again. So the serious rise in the impairment impacting the stock down about 5%. Heidelberg took a bit of a backseat. Biocon took a bit of a backseat. JB Chemicals took a bit of a backseat. So clearly, the mood around pharma has sombered down a bit. Any specific stocks that stand out, Nickey?
Yeah, Aditya Birla Fashion, clearly good set of, after the news report came in that it's going to be issuing an equity shares on preferential basis to Flipkart with the right to refusal itself. That was one development which really picked up the entire, there was a lot of significant traction coming in after this development. But what actually did not do well on the flip side was Biocon, which reported rather dismal set of numbers coming in from pharma sector overall. But what really also did well was auto ancillary, because that was essentially on the back of way Bajaj Auto and other auto stocks behaved. Reacting to that, the entire space was been green. But then, Niraj, how are you looking at the next week? And also, since JSW Steel has also reported a good set of numbers, what are the cues that you'd be likely watching out for the next week now?
Yeah, I think it'll be important, Nickey. I think, frankly, aside of everything else with regards to results and other things notwithstanding, everything hinges on what happens on the stimulus front. Last evening or in the last night or US markets time, Nancy Pelosi has suggested that there is going to be, that they are closer to a stimulus deal, because of which the Dow went up. And I think this weekend, which is what I was saying, that there was a bit of a stop back against any kind of short positions, because people would not want to go short into the weekend when the US stimulus deal or some deal might be announced. So they or get reached. And that is the key thing that everybody should be watching out for. As we speak, I think the US futures, at least the last time that I saw, were trading with a degree of flattish move. So the Nasdaq futures didn't have anything to themselves. Europe is not looking all that bad, so there's a bit of a positivity there too. And if the Dow futures move up, then it could be an interesting one as well. But for now, Europe is in the green. Nasdaq futures in the just about flattish or marginally positive, and I think everything hinges on that. So right now, I don't think too many people will be thinking as far as the whole of next week. Let's just wait and see if anything around the stimulus gets reached, and that might have a bearing on the markets on Monday. Foreigners continue to put in money, and if they continue to do that, then you have a strong space for BFSI as well. So we will watch out for that. But well, on that note, from Nicky and myself and the whole team that has that has put this market wrap together, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great weekend. Happy festivities.